I can remember being in elementary school, and my teacher gave us this pop quiz. It was kind of a pop quiz, pop test. I don't know. It was longer than a quiz, shorter than a test. A quest, I think, is actually what we called it. But I started working on this quiz. They gave us, I think it was math problems. And so everybody in the class started working on it, obviously went silent. And I'm not the best test taker. For some reason, it takes me a while. I get distracted easy. So it takes me a little bit longer to do these types of things. And so I'm sitting there, sitting at the desk with this quiz in hand, and I'm working on all these problems. And I remember it being about 3 pages. Like you would flip the page whenever you're done, keep going, that whole thing. But I noticed as I was almost done with the first page, a kid stands up and walks and turns his paper in. And this obviously makes me nervous because I'm only on the first of the 3 pages. And so I don't really know how he did that, or if maybe he was just smarter than me. It made me nervous. Anyway, I was like, it's no big deal. I keep going. Well, then I work and I get probably to middle of the 2nd page. And by this point, like 5 to 6 more people have stood up and have turned their papers in. Like a good number of people. And I start to realize, man, I am taking forever on this, I guess, because I'm working, must be at a slower pace. They all must be smarter than me. And so these thoughts started to sit in. And like I'm getting embarrassed. I'm the last one. I'm taking too long. All of these kind of thoughts were in my head. And so I began to not show work, to not even like double check. I'm just going as fast as I can because I start to get nervous. And soon I realize I'm not even done with the 2nd page, and every single other person has turned in this quiz. And so as I'm sitting here, just trying to blitz through the 3rd page of this quiz or test, the person next to me taps me on my shoulder. And they look at me and they say, hey, read the instructions. And so I go back, flip back to the 1st page, and I read this block of instructions that I had kind of skipped over because it's kind of self-explanatory when you're taking a math test on what you're supposed to do. But I read it, and it says, just do the first question and then turn it in. A wave of relief passes over me, but also a little bit of embarrassment. Because I didn't read the instructions, I was so focused on doing the whole test when I wasn't actually doing what I was supposed to be doing at all. I only had to do the first question. And so I get up and I turn my paper in and I realized, man, I did all that extra work. I did all this extra stuff when that wasn't even what I was supposed to be doing in the first place. The lie, I am what I do, is all too familiar for our culture. It says that our worth is dictated by the things that we do. The lie, I am what I do, is all too familiar in our culture. It's why we're so afraid of failure. Because if I fail at something, then my value decreases. It affects who I am. It's bigger than just the thing. It's about you. If you fail, then it's not that you failed at that task, it's that you are a failure. Which is why it's so scary and why it's so difficult. But our culture does this. They promote this I am what I do lie attitude. And sometimes it makes sense. I mean, you try out for a team or for a position or you apply for a job and they want to have the best person, the best fit. And so sometimes that makes sense. You got to find the best version for whatever thing you're doing. So judging things on what you do makes sense in those realms. But if you apply that to your own life, that's where it gets difficult. Because the moment you try out for a team and you don't get on that team, then all of a sudden you're the failure and you're worth way less. You can see how this is a difficult lie, and it makes sense because at some point you have failed. You've not done what you've set out to do. And so when those things embed in your identity, then this narrative goes on in your life. That you didn't do something wrong, it's you are something wrong. Think about it like this. If I asked you who you were, your instinct might be to tell me what you do. I'm a baseball player, I'm in theater, I play the drums, all of those things. But then your next thought might be to take it a step further. I play this position, I'm in the ensemble, I play this specific instrument in this specific song. You specify it a little bit. And if we take that even a step further, you may tell me how good or not good you are at that thing. I'm a really good shortstop. I'm a really good point guard. I'm a really good singer in the ensemble. I'm a really good drummer. Humans tend to take this idea of what I do makes it who I am, and they take it a step too far. Because they say how good I am at the thing that I am doing is how good I am as a person. It's how worthy I am. And we do this all the time, not just with activities though. You might say, I'm funny, I am conversational, I'm outgoing. These are things that describe what you do. And the moment you get into an environment where you're not funny or where you're not outgoing, then your identity starts to crumble because it was built on something weak. So I want you to think for a second. What if you couldn't do the thing that you do anymore? If you described yourself as a baseball player, but you get hurt and you can't play baseball anymore, then how does it affect who you are? If all of a sudden you're tone deaf and you can't keep a beat to save your life, how does that describe who you are? I've met many people who have played a sport or done an activity or done a hobby, and they've gone all the way up through college doing these things, but the moment that stops, they've lost sense of who they are because they can't do that thing anymore. What if you forever have said that you're funny, but somebody funnier comes along? What if you've always said that you're the outgoing one, but then you move to a new place and you don't feel as outgoing, you actually feel nervous? Your identity begins to crumble and you find yourself in a tough spot. Fear, inadequacy, pressure, anxiety, they all start to build up because you think, if I fail at these things that I've said that I do, then I'm failing myself. And hustle culture says if you just work harder, if you just try harder, if you just put the hours in, then eventually you'll get to where you want to be, but that's not true. Oftentimes, it doesn't matter how hard you work, you're never going to be as good as you want to be. And if you're not as good as you want to be, then you yourself aren't good enough. That's what the lie tells us. Maybe you've seen this happen too. See, a result of this lie is a few different things. People are overconfident in themselves because if that's their identity, then they better be really good at it. And so they're really confident in their abilities. Or maybe you've seen somebody crushed because they didn't make the team or they couldn't do the thing that they really wanted to do. I bet you've seen the fallout of this. I bet you felt it too. A lot of people struggle with this because they can't bear the thought of failure. If I don't do a good enough job at this thing, then why am I even here? This is a lie that can have lasting effects for your entire life because people are always struggling with this idea of failure, and myself included. I think all the time, if I fail this thing or if I'm not good enough at this thing, then that's a reflection of me and who I am. But that's a lie. The first half of Galatians 2:20 says this: I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. If we follow Christ, then our old self is dead and we put on our new self, and it's now Christ who lives through us. And so it's no longer about what I am doing, it's about what Christ is doing. And this is good because Christ is perfect and the things that he does are perfect. So it's a really good thing to have Christ in you, because if that's true, then it's less about what you do and more about what he has already done and is going to do through you. I am what I do is a dangerous lie to believe, because God is too big and too strong and loves you too much to only care about the product that you bring. You are made for more than what you do.